Have you ever kept something that wasn't yours just because no one was watching? The wallet was thick, heavy leather, the kind that held more than money. It held choices. Nia's fingers hovered over it for exactly 2 seconds, long enough to feel the weight of temptation, short enough to know what she'd already decided. Outside, rain drummed against glass in a steady rhythm. Inside, the industrial dryer hummed its endless cycle. And between those sounds, a small voice cut through the noise of late-night survival. "Mama, why do people forget important things?" She didn't know the man who owned that wallet would one day hunt her across a continent, that his son, his lost, presumed dead son, would fall asleep against her shoulder every night for 5 years, clutching a blue crayon like a lifeline, that this single moment of honesty in a midnight laundromat would become the thread connecting vengeance to redemption, darkness to light, death to resurrection. But in that moment, she knew only this: some things are too valuable to keep when they're not yours, even when keeping them would solve every problem you have. The laundromat on 5th and Maple never closed. Yellow light spilled onto wet pavement, a beacon for night shift workers whose lives didn't fit daylight hours. Nia Carter folded a small blue shirt with practiced efficiency. Behind her, 5-year-old Min fought sleep on a plastic chair, clutching his worn backpack with its blue crayon inside, the only thing that survived a fire 6 years ago. The bell chimed. A man in an expensive coat entered, collected quarters from the change machine, and turned to leave. His wallet slipped from his pocket, landing near Nia's feet. She watched him reach the door, could have stayed quiet, could have paid next month's rent with what was inside. 2 seconds of choice. "Sir, you forgot this." He turned, surprise flickering across his face. "You're returning it." "Of course." She held it out. "No one returns cash in this town." "Then they're not looking hard enough. There are still good people." Something changed in his posture. "What's your name?" "Nia. That's my son, Min." The man stared at the boy too long. Something shifted in his eyes. Recognition she couldn't understand. "Thank you, Nia, for your honesty." Before leaving, he glanced back at Min. His face changed, just a fraction. Then he was gone, taillights dissolving into rain. Min tugged her hand. "Was he sad, Mama?" "Sometimes people carry sadness we can't see." As they walked to the bus stop, Nia felt it, a shift she couldn't name, like standing at the edge of something inevitable. She'd learn soon. Mercy offered freely can become a debt unpaid. Seoul's skyline glittered 45 floors below. In the conference room, blue light from an LED screen cast shadows across faces trained to hide emotion. Kang Hyun stood with his back to the room, hands clasped. Behind him, elderly Mrs. Han watched silently, his father's most trusted advisor, the closest thing to a mother he'd ever known. "Show me again." His assistant Wai tapped the tablet. A photograph appeared, a black woman walking a small boy to school. The boy's profile caught in sunlight, laughing. Wei zoomed in. "Look at this, sir." Behind the boy's ear, a crescent birthmark, exactly like the one Kang carried, the genetic signature that couldn't be denied. Kang's hand involuntarily touched his own ear. "Los Angeles," Wai reported. "Nia Carter, former waitress. She disappeared from Seoul 6 years ago, right after the fire." "My son died in that fire," each word precise. "Controlled." Mrs. Han spoke quietly. "What if the tests were wrong? What if your brother lied?" "Why would he lie?" "Because he was Lee Tae-min's man, even then. She moved closer to the screen. Look at that boy's eyes. Your eyes. 3 generations staring back at you. Kang stepped closer. The boy held a blue crayon, drawing on sidewalk. His face tilted up in laughter. Exactly how Kang's mother said he'd looked as a child. She was there that night, Kang said. I remember. She brought tea 2 hours before the attack. She must have seen something, known something. Hwa pulled up another image. Nia running from the building. Kang stared at the impossible boy. Bring her to me, alive, unharmed. I want the truth. And if she resists, then remind her I'm not asking. He paused. But why? No one touches the child. No matter what secrets she keeps, understood? Alone again, Kang returned to the window. Below, the Han River reflected city lights. He'd scattered ashes there once, whispered goodbye to a son he'd never known. If this boy was real, if his son had survived, then she'd stolen 6 years. 6 years of being a father. Impossible, he whispered to his reflection. You died. But doubt, once planted, grows like poison or hope. What would you do if the past you buried refused to stay dead? Stay with me. If this moves you, subscribe so you never miss what comes next. The Los Angeles Community Center smelled like floor wax and hope. Every Tuesday, children's sign language class filled the back room with small hands shaping silent words. Nia watched Min practice with Sarah, the deaf instructor. His fingers moved through signs for friend and home. The door opened. 3 men entered, dark suits, synchronized movement. Leading them, the man from the laundromat. Time slowed. Different city, different. But his eyes found her immediately. Min saw him. The boy's face lit with innocent curiosity. He ran across the room, arms outstretched. Appa? The room went silent. Kang Hyun stopped mid-step. His controlled face cracked. Shock, then pain, then disbelief. Min stopped a foot away, suddenly shy. His hand formed the sign for father. As his hand moved, Kang saw the crescent birthmark. Genetic proof, undeniable. His breath caught audibly. Nia was on her feet, moving between them. Min, come here. But Mama, now. Min retreated, confused. Kang's gaze lifted. They stared at each other, hunter and protector, father and mother. We need to talk, Kang said quietly. There's nothing to talk about. There's 6 years to talk about. You know who I am, and you took him anyway. I saved him from a fire, from men who would have killed him. From me? He stepped closer. You think I would have harmed my own son? I think you built a world where innocence doesn't survive. I chose to give him something different. Kang flinched. Around them, parents gathered their children toward exits. Min tugged Nia's hand. Mama, why is everyone scared? Kang crouched to Min's level, movements slow. What's your name? Minnie Min Carter. I'm 5. I can write my name in 2 languages. Despite everything, Kang's mouth curved. I like that very much. Later, Nia interrupted. We're leaving. She pulled Min toward the exit. Kang raised one hand. His men stepped back. Go, he said quietly. But Nia, you can't run twice. Next time we meet, we talk. About the truth, about my son. He's not yours, not anymore. And you earned it by fleeing, by teaching him to lie about who he is? I taught him to be kind, to choose mercy over power, everything you're not. The words hit hard. His expression shuddered, but his voice was soft, almost broken. Then you gave him the childhood I never had. Thank you for that. Outside, Naya's hands shook, unlocking her car. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Nia Carter? An elderly woman's voice. Who is this? Turn around. A gentle hand touched her shoulder. An elegant Korean woman stood there, eyes kind but knowing. I'm Mrs. Han. I was there 6 years ago. I saw you run into that fire when everyone else ran out. Nia's blood went cold. Who are you? Kang's advisor, his conscience when he'll listen. She glanced at Min. I helped deliver that boy. Believed he'd died until last week. You gave him back his son. Then why are you here? To help you escape, again. She pressed a card into Nia's hand. When his men come, and they will, call me. I can't stop Kang from finding you, but I can make sure you have a voice, a choice. Why help me? Because you kept the boy human, kind, whole. That's worth protecting. She walked away, disappearing into the crowd. Inside the center, Kang stood at the window, watching them leave, hands trembling. Wai approached. Orders? Follow them, keep distance, but don't interfere. His voice was raw. That boy called me father, and part of me hopes he never learns who I really am. And the woman? Silence stretched. She's right. I built this world on blood. Maybe I don't deserve to be his father. He turned away. But that doesn't change the fact that he's my son. Find out everything. How she saved him, why she ran. What she knows about Lee Tae-min. The invitation arrived by courier the next morning. Heavy cardstock, elegant Korean script, flowing into perfect English translation. The address of a high-end restaurant in Koreatown, the kind of place where reservations required weeks of waiting unless you owned the building. Below the formal words, a simple message. Come alone. I will answer any question you ask honestly. In return, I ask only the same honesty from you. No threat, no trap, only truth, K. No signature beyond that single initial. None needed. Nia knew exactly who sent it. Knew she should ignore it, pack Min's things tonight. Disappear again, the way she'd disappeared 6 years ago when flames lit up Seoul's night sky. But something had shifted at the community center. Some dam inside her had developed cracks she couldn't ignore. He'd called Min his son, and Min, impossibly, had called him father. That night, Pastor Joseph had counseled her in his small church office that smelled of old books and candle wax. You can't run forever, daughter. Eventually the past catches up with all of us. Sometimes the only way through fear is straight toward it, facing it with courage and faith. He'd leaned forward, his kind eyes serious. But remember this, kindness doesn't mean capitulation. You can be merciful without being weak. You can offer grace without sacrificing your boundaries. God calls us to love, but he never calls us to be fools. So here she sat, in a private room behind frosted glass that turned the outside world into blurred shadows, watching smoke curl from the tabletop grill, while Kang Hyun poured tea, with hands far steadier than her hammering heartbeat. The room was elegant in its simplicity. Low table, cushioned floor seating, traditional Korean aesthetic meeting modern luxury. The kind of private space where important business was conducted, where deals were made and broken, where power was negotiated over food and drink. You came. I want this finished. 6 years ago, I would have said this was vengeance, but I spent today watching surveillance of you and Min. Watching him sign I love you after school. Watching you split your lunch for him. That's not theft, that's motherhood. Nia's throat tightened. Why were you there that night? The question cut sharp. I heard screaming, found a room with a blown door, a woman's body, and a baby crying. My wife. I grabbed him. The building was collapsing. I couldn't go back for her. She was already dead. Lee Tae-min shot her first, set fire to cover evidence. You knew who did it and let him live? I had no proof. Lee was powerful. To move without certainty would have caused war. His jaw tightened. So I waited, became colder, harder, everything necessary to survive long enough to make him pay. And your son? You never looked? They showed me DNA results, a burned infant. My own brother identified it. His hands shook. I believed them. Why wouldn't I? Your brother lied. My brother's dead now. Convenient car accident. He laughed bitterly. Nia watched him carefully. This man looked breakable in the red glow. Human. What do you want from me? The truth, and then to know my son. He has a life, stability. He doesn't know what you are. I know, and I won't let you drag him into violence. Kang's hand slammed the table. The grill jumped. Dishes rattled. Silence. Nia didn't flinch. Is that how you solve problems? Violence? Intimidation? Kang looked at his hand, pulled it back slowly. I'm sorry, old habits. He exhaled. You're right. That's exactly what I'm trying not to be. Then don't be it. Not with me, not with Min, not ever. He nodded, chastened. I'm asking to try, to be a father, not a boss, just a man who wants to know his child. Can you even do that? I don't know, but seeing him alive makes me want to try. The food sat untouched, steam rose and dissipated. You think I stole your son, but I saved him. I know, his voice cracked, and I hate that a stranger showed more courage than I did. You ran into fire. I ran from love. You can't undo the past. Maybe I can show up for the future, if you trust me enough to try. Trust you? You're a crime boss. You hurt people. On everything wrong with the world. I know. You think I don't see what I am? He moved to the window. I'm the darkness you ran from. Then why should I let you near him? He turned, eyes wet. Because he's my son. Because I've already lost 6 years. And because you're the one person who saw the worst of my world and chose mercy. Maybe you can teach me how to be worthy. I won't let you hurt him. I swear you won't. And I won't let your world touch him. Agreed. If you ever make him feel unsafe, we disappear forever. Fair terms. Not terms, boundaries. Something shifted in his expression. Respect. You're protecting him the way I should have. You're being the parent I failed to be. Yes. Then teach me. Nia studied him. Start by being honest with yourself, with me, with him. Choose your son or your throne. You can't have both. I choose him. Say it again. Mean it. I choose my son. I choose Min. Whatever it takes to be worthy of knowing him. Nia extended her hand. In contract. Then we try, slowly, the moment you break faith. I lose everything. He took her hand. I understand. They stood bound by a child neither could bear to lose. 3 weeks passed like a held breath. Kang showed up. Every time he said he would, he was there. Parks and museums and the aquarium, watching fish swim in artificial oceans, always in public spaces, always with Nia present, always respecting the boundaries she'd set like they were sacred law. Week 1, he was awkward. Asked questions too formally, like conducting a business interview. What are your favorite subjects in school? What activities do you enjoy? His body language was stiff, uncomfortable, the posture of someone who commanded boardrooms but had no idea how to talk to a 5-year-old. Week 2, he started listening, really listening, sat on playground equipment far too small for his adult frame, pushed Min on swings for 30 minutes straight, pretended to be interested in Pokemon cards, even though he clearly had no idea what a Pikachu was. He brought age-appropriate books instead of expensive gifts, asked follow-up questions about things Min had mentioned days earlier, remembered the details that mattered to a child. Week 3, something shifted. Min started reaching for his hand without prompting, without Nia's encouragement. Started saying, "I need to tell father," instead of "I need to tell that man." Started in the organic way children have of accepting reality, treating him as family. And Nia watched it all with a mixture of hope and terror. Watched Kang transform from hunter to father. Watched her own walls, 6 years of carefully constructed protection, slowly, cautiously begin to lower despite every instinct screaming danger. But tonight felt different. Tonight, Min had asked the question that changed everything. "Mama, why don't you like my real dad?" They were home, Min coloring. The question landed like a stone. "What makes you think I don't like him?" "You're always watching, like he's gonna do something bad, but he's not bad. He remembers my favorite things." "Baby, it's complicated." "Is it because of his job? I heard Pastor Joseph say he's part of organized crime. That's dangerous, right?" Min looked up. "But Mama, you say people can change. That's what faith is. You're waiting to see if he really changes? Something like that." "I think he's trying. He looks at me like I'm his most important thing." "I look at you like that every day." "That's different. You're my mama. You have to love me." He grinned. "But he's choosing to. That's more motivational, right?" She laughed despite herself. That night, alone, Nia thought about Pastor Joseph's words. God calls us to believe in people's best possibilities, but wisdom means protecting the innocent while we wait. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Can we talk? Just us. Just truth." She texted back an address, a rooftop bar. An hour later, she stood in the drizzle as Kang emerged from the elevator. "You came." "Min asked me why I don't like you." "What did you tell him?" "That people can change, but I'm not sure I believe it yet." Kang moved to the railing, neon reflected in his eyes, reds, blues, golds. "I went to my father's grave yesterday, first time in 10 years, told him I found his grandson, that I was walking away from everything he built." "What would he say?" "That I'm weak, that family is liability, that power is all that matters." His hands gripped the rail. "He trained that into me from age 5. Every punishment, every lesson. Be harder, colder, more ruthless, or they'll destroy you." "Is that what you want to teach Min?" "No, God, no. I want him to know gentleness, safety, everything I never had." "Then choose, really choose. Dismantle everything your father built. If I walk away, someone worse takes over. Lee Tae-min, probably, and he'll burn everything." "Don't justify it. Don't make it noble. You're a criminal." "No gymnastics change that." Rain picked up, cold drops mixing with warm breath. "You're right," Kang said finally. "I can't justify it. I can only tell you why. I was groomed for it. When my father died, the alternative was civil war. I told myself holding power was better than letting it fall to someone worse." "Excuses." "Yes," his voice broke. But Nia, I didn't know any other way until I saw you return that wallet. Until I watched you raise my son with kindness, and I realized there's a way of living I've never experienced. You want to be human, but you don't know how. No? Then start here. Tell me the truth. Why did Lee target your wife? Silence. The city hummed. Because I was planning to leave, take my wife and son and disappear. Lee found out. He saw it as betrayal. So he eliminated what was making me soft. Your family. My family. He killed her to teach me. Love is vulnerability. I had no right to want anything beyond the empire. But you stayed, took control. Because I thought Min was dead, vengeance was all I had left. Because I didn't know how to be anything but what my father made me. And now I know there's more. Because Min is alive. Because he's gentle and curious, and he doesn't carry my father's poison. Because you proved people can be raised different. Rain fell harder. Both soaked. Kong pulled out a black umbrella, opened it with a soft click. He held it over her head, not his, hers. You're getting wet. So are you. I deserve the rain. You don't. He extended his hand. Share it with me? She stepped closer, under the umbrella. Their shoulders touched. Together, she said softly. Together. Still holding the umbrella over both of them, Kang knelt. Thank you for saving him, for raising him, for being everything I should have been. His voice cracked. You're right, I don't know how to be a father, but I'm asking, please, teach me, give me a chance. Get up. He rose, rain or tears streaming down his face. She reached out, surprising herself, and wiped his cheek. The gesture intimate. His eyes widened. Don't make me regret this, she whispered. Regret what? Believing in you, hoping you can change. They stood close, breath mingling in cold air. For a moment, she thought he might kiss her, but he stepped back, respectful. When I earn that, it won't be in rain and desperation. It'll be when you trust me completely. When I've proven I'm worthy of your heart, not just your mercy. That restraint meant more than any kiss. I can't promise I'll change overnight, he said, but I promise I'll choose him over power, over everything my father valued. Show me, not with words, with action. How? Leave this life, expose the organization, make a choice that can't be undone. That's a death sentence. Maybe, but it's the only path to redemption. That's what parents do. We sacrifice for our children, choose their future over our comfort. Kang looked at their joined hands under the umbrella. You're the bravest person I've ever met. You're asking you to run into fire for your son. He nodded slowly. When I make that choice, will you be there? I'll be there for Min, because he deserves a father who chose courage. Then I'll do it, destroy everything, and pray I survive long enough to become worthy of that boy's trust. She pulled something from her pocket, a blue crayon, worn, barely used. He's obsessed with blue. Everything blue. Know why? He shook his head. This was the only thing that survived the fire with him. Blue means survival to him. Home. She pressed it into his palm. I'll earn it, he whispered. I'll earn the right to be his home. They stood in the rain, two broken people learning to build something new. Below, in a parked car, Y watched his boss kneel, saw the woman hand back something precious. Some moments, he realized, were sacred, even for people like them. Kang moved fast after that night on the rooftop. Within 48 hours, he'd compiled everything. recordings of meetings where crimes were planned, financial documents tracing money from legitimate businesses to illegal operations, testimonies from victims he'd helped locate and protect. Everything Lee Tae-min had done over 20 years. Every crime, every betrayal, every body. He sent copies to federal prosecutors, to investigative journalists whose integrity he'd verified, to international law enforcement agencies that had been building cases for years but lacked insider evidence. He'd burned it all down, just like Naya asked, destroyed the empire his father had built, dismantled the power structure that had protected him, exposed himself to prosecution along with everyone else. But he'd underestimated Lee's paranoia, underestimated how closely he was being watched, failed to consider that Lee had informants even in law enforcement, and he'd failed to protect the one thing that mattered most. The attack came at 11 p.m. on a Thursday, a school night, an ordinary night. Nia was reading Min a bedtime story, something about a dragon who learned kindness, who discovered that strength without compassion was just violence wearing a different mask. Outside, Los Angeles hummed its usual symphony. Traffic noise, distant sirens, music from neighboring apartments, the ambient sound of 8 million lives intersecting, then breaking glass, the sound of their kitchen window shattering inward. Nia's head snapped up, adrenaline flooding her system. Min clutched his blanket, eyes going wide with the kind of primal fear that needed no explanation. "Mama, closet, now, quiet." She moved fast, shoved him inside, barricaded the door. "Don't make a sound, no matter what you hear. Be brave." His eyes were huge. "I'm scared." "I know, baby, but I need you brave right now." She closed the door, moved to the hallway. The front door crashed open. 3 men, dark clothes, guns drawn. "Nia Carter, where's the boy?" "Not here." "Lie." He raised his weapon. "Lee sends his regards. You took something from Kang. We're returning the favor." She backed toward the kitchen. "Please, he's just a child." Children grow into problems. Better to eliminate them young. "Over my dead body." "Exactly." The first shot went wide. Second splintered the coffee table. She crawled toward the kitchen, breaking wood. More footsteps. Kang burst through like vengeance. No gun, just fury. He moved through them like a storm. Years of training unleashed. 1 down, 2. The third raised his weapon toward the bedroom. Kang caught his arm, twisted. The gun clattered. They crashed into walls, everything breaking. Nia reached the bedroom. The dresser was moving, Min trying to push it. "Stay back," she screamed. Then pain. Sharp, hot, blood spreading across her side. Ricochet. "Mama," Kang heard, his face transformed. The last attacker fell. He was at her side, hands pressing the wound. "Nia, stay with me." "Min, check Min." He pulled the dresser aside. Min tumbled out, crying, his blue shirt soaked with her blood from pressing against her. Kang froze, stared at that blood-staining blue, at his son marked by violence he'd brought. "This is what my sins did to you," he whispered. "Both of you. This is all my fault." Smoke. Fire spreading, covering evidence. Kang made a decision. Wrapped Min's face against his chest. Lifted Nia despite her protests. Carried both through the burning apartment, downstairs as sirens wailed. Outside, cold Los Angeles night. He laid Nia on grass. Min pressed against her, crying. "Mama, you're bleeding." "I'm okay. You were so brave." She cupped his face, leaving bloody handprints. Kang was on his phone. Mrs. Han, I need a car, a doctor, now, no hospital. They'll find us. I don't care what it costs, just do it. He knelt beside them. This is my fault. I thought I could control the fallout. I was wrong. Min, keep him safe. I will. I swear. Promise me. She gripped his hand. No matter what happens, you become the father he deserves. Not the boss, the father. You're not dying. Promise. I promise. But you're not leaving. You don't get to make me want to be better and then disappear. She smiled, tasting blood. Life's not fair, Kung. Then I was wrong about everything. Min's hands pressed her wound. Mama, stay, please. I need you. I'm not going anywhere, baby. But her eyes were closing, and the last thing she heard was Kang's voice, desperate. Nia, please, stay. I haven't learned how to do this without you. We both need you. The world went dark. Nia woke in an unfamiliar bed, surrounded by unfamiliar walls. Clean white sheets. Soft morning light filtering through curtains. The smell of antiseptic mixing with something else, jasmine tea. Easy, daughter, don't try to sit up too fast. Mrs. Han's voice, gentle as rain. The bullet went through clean, missed everything vital. You're lucky, incredibly lucky. Min, where's Min? With his father, safe, both of them downstairs waiting for you to wake up. Nia tried to sit anyway, ignoring the pain, lancing through her side. Where are we? My home. My real home, not the organization's property. A place even Lee doesn't know about. Mrs. Han pressed a cup of tea into Nia's trembling hands. Kang brought you here 3 days ago. You've been in and out of consciousness. Fever from infection, but the antibiotics are working now. 3 days? I've been out for 3 days. Your body needed rest, needed time to heal. The old woman's eyes were kind but serious, and Kang needed time to do what needed doing. What do you mean? What did he do? Ending it. He went to face Lee Tae-min tonight, at the old container port near the harbor, alone. He can't. Lee will kill him. Nia tried to stand, legs shaking beneath her. I have to stop him. He'll die. Perhaps, but he said if he doesn't end this, Lee will never stop hunting you and the boy. Said his son deserves better than a life spent running from his father's mistakes. Mrs. Han steadied her, helped her stand despite the pain. He said to tell you he's keeping his promise. Choosing his son over his empire, choosing redemption even if it costs him everything. I can't walk. Then crawl, daughter. Isn't that what you did 6 years ago? Crawled through fire for a child who wasn't even yours? The old woman's eyes were knowing, challenging. Sometimes the most inspirational thing we can do is refuse to stay down. Refuse to let evil win. Simply because we're wounded. Nia drank the tea, something in it to dull pain, then dressed in clothes Mrs. Han provided, every movement agony, every breath a reminder of how close she'd come to leaving Min orphaned. Then drive me, now. They drove through Los Angeles nighttime traffic, the city a blur of lights and movement. The port loomed ahead, shipping containers stacked like metal mountains, cranes silhouetted against the sky, rain starting to fall in heavy, relentless sheets. Nia saw them in the distance through the windshield, 2 figures facing each other in the open space between containers. Kang, Lee, a dozen armed men on each side, a Mexican standoff under searchlights and rain. She stumbled from the car, hand pressed to her bandaged side, each step a battle between will and weakness. On the open ground, Kang faced Lee, two men who'd once been allies, who'd built an empire together, now enemies because one chose love and the other chose power. Lee laughed, cold, bitter, the sound of someone who'd won every game and couldn't conceive of losing. You look different, Kang, weaker. Love has made you soft, made you pathetic. You're right, it has. Kang's voice was steady, despite the rain soaking him. But that softness is the only thing worth having, the only thing that makes any of this worthwhile. You betrayed everything we built, sent evidence to federal agents, destroyed our organization. For what? A woman and a bastard child? Lee raised his weapon, rain dripping from the barrel. Don't call him that. Kang's voice turned to steel. He's not a bastard. He's my son, my blood, the only good thing I've ever created in this miserable world. You traded your empire for a child? Lee's finger tightened on the trigger. Traded power for sentiment? You're weak, just like your father always feared you'd become. No. Kang stood his ground, rain streaming down his face. I traded power for family, violence for peace. I chose my son and the woman who taught me what mercy looks like. I chose to be human instead of a weapon. He took a step forward, and I'd make that trade 1,000 times over. Every single time I'd choose them. Then die with your choice, Kang. The shot rang out before anyone could react, but Kang didn't fall. Why did, stepping in front of his boss at the last second, taking the bullet meant for Kang. He crumpled, blood spreading dark against dark clothes, rain washing it into the pavement. Wei! Kang caught him, lowered him gently to the wet ground. Had to choose, Wei gasped, blood on his lips, rain mixing with tears. Remember that laundromat? I was there in the car that night, watching, saw you test her with your wallet, saw her pass your test, thought you were crazy for caring about some stranger's honesty. Wei, stay with me, don't you dare die. But then I watched you watch them for weeks, saw how the boy made you laugh again, made you remember what it felt like to be human instead of a weapon, how she made you want to be better, made you believe change was possible. Wei gripped Kang's hand, his strength fading. Loyalty to the empire or loyalty to the man who learned to be human again? I chose the father over the boss. No regrets, sir. No regrets at all. You don't get to die protecting me. I'm supposed to protect you. You did, Wei whispered, smiling despite the pain. You protected me from becoming what we used to be, from dying inside while still breathing. Thank you, boss. Thank you, friend. His eyes closed. His grip went slack. Nia reached them then, stumbling into the open space, rain soaking her immediately, her wound screaming protest at every movement. Kang, stop this now. Lee saw her, smiled like a predator sighting prey. Excellent, the reunion I wanted. He aimed at her. Ladies first. Kang moved, fast, desperate, putting himself between gun and woman, making himself the shield he'd failed to be 6 years ago. No more, he said quietly, finality in his voice. It ends, tonight, here. No more blood, no more victims. It's over, Lee. Then die protecting her. How poetic. But sirens cut through the night before Lee could fire. Red and blue lights flooded the port from every direction. Federal agents poured in, like a tide, tactical teams, helicopters overhead, the full weight of law enforcement descending at once. Kang had called them, had timed this confrontation, knowing they'd come. The evidence he'd compiled had given them everything they needed for arrests, convictions, decades of prosecution. He'd sacrificed himself along with everyone else, but he'd done it knowing law enforcement would arrive in time to prevent a massacre. Lee realized too late what was happening. He tried to run, but agents swarmed. Tackled him, cuffed him. It was over in seconds. 20 years of criminal empire. It ended on wet concrete under searchlights and rain. Kang turned to Nia, blood streaking his face. Wei's blood, not his own. His eyes were haunted by what he'd just lost, what he'd just done. "Is it enough?" he asked, voice raw. "Dismantling everything, giving up the empire, facing charges for my own crimes, watching friends die. Is it enough to be worthy of him? Worthy of being his father?" Nia's hand found his, slick with rain and blood and sacrifice. "It's a start." Just a start? Redemption isn't one decision. It's choosing again every day to be better, to put Min first, to become the man he can admire. She squeezed his hand. "You're doing it. You're becoming him." An agent approached. "Kang, you're under arrest." "I know." He extended his hands for cuffs. "I'm ready to face it." Before they cuffed him, he looked at Nia. "Tell Min I'm sorry for everything. Tell him his father loves him, and I'll spend every day earning the right to say that." "I'll tell him, but Kang, you don't have to earn love. You already have his. Now you just live up to it." They took him away. Rain and lights and chaos. Mrs. Han supported Nia. "Will he survive what's coming?" "Prison, yes." The old woman smiled. "He's endured worse, and now he has something he never had before." "What?" "A reason to survive, a child to come home to, a woman who believes he can be better. That's more motivational than power ever was." As they drove away, Nia looked back, saw Kang glance up at Rain as if washing himself clean. She prayed the man who emerged from judgment would be the father Min deserved. Not the crime boss, not the weapon, just a man learning to be human. 18 months later, the International Night Market was exactly what its name promised, a glorious collision of cultures, languages, food, and humanity. Vendors from a dozen countries lined the street beneath strings of lights. The smell of jollof rice mixed with bulgogi, of samosas and spring rolls, of coffee and tea and spices that had traveled continents to meet here under the Los Angeles sky. Nia and Min sat at a small table under those string lights, surrounded by the ambient noise of happiness, laughter, conversation, the clink of dishes, children playing. She was fully healed now, the scar on her side just a reminder of what they'd survived, of evil faced and love that refused to quit. During those 18 months, she'd visited Kang every month without fail, watched prison humble him, soften him, remake him from the inside out. Their conversations had evolved from careful to vulnerable, to something deeper, something that felt like the foundation of real romance. Not the dramatic kind from movies, but the steady kind built on respect, reciprocity, vulnerability, choice, and commitment. He'd written her letters, dozens of them, about his childhood, his regrets, his hopes for a future he'd never dared imagine. About how thinking of her and Min kept him human when prison tried to make him hard again, when despair whispered that he didn't deserve redemption, when the easy path would have been giving up. She'd written back faithfully about Min's milestones, losing his first tooth, learning to ride a bike, reading his first chapter book alone. About her own fears and hopes, about slowly learning to trust that his transformation was genuine, that people really could change at their core. The romance between them had grown in the space between visits and letters, in handwritten words revealing souls, in the way his eyes lit up when she walked into the visiting room, in how her heart raced before each visit, anticipating seeing him, missing him in ways that surprised her. By month 12, they'd stopped pretending it was just about Min. "I'm falling in love with you," she'd whispered through the glass partition. "The real you, the man you're becoming." "I fell in love with you the moment you returned that wallet," he'd whispered back, eyes intense. "I just didn't know it yet. Didn't know that integrity could be beautiful, that mercy could be attractive, that strength without violence could be irresistible." Now he was finally coming home. Min was 6.5, taller, lankier, growing into his features, still obsessed with blue, but now he wore it with pride, Korean flag pins on his backpack, alongside African print patches, two halves of his heritage, finally acknowledged and celebrated instead of hidden. "Is he coming?" Min asked, looking toward the entrance. "He said he would." Then she saw him. Kang emerged from the crowd, dressed simply in jeans and plain shirt. Thinner, older, scarred in new ways, but his eyes softer, clear. Min saw him and froze. Kang approached slowly. "Hi, Min." "Hi, can I sit?" Nia nodded. "Please." He sat, hands on the table, empty, open, trembling. "I'm sorry for being gone, for the danger I brought, for missing so much. Mama said you were becoming better." "I tried, I'm still trying, every day." His voice was raw. "Prison taught me patience, humility, that being a father isn't about power. It's about showing up, even when it's hard." Min studied him seriously. "Did you hurt people?" "Yes, I did. Made terrible choices. Built a life on things I'm not proud of." "Are you sorry?" "Every day." "Mama says sorry means changing, not just saying words." "Your mama's right. She's right about most things." He glanced at Nia, something grateful in his eyes. "That's why I worked with prosecutors, testified, helped dismantle every organization like mine, made sure Lee and everyone like him faced justice." "Is that why you went to jail?" "Partly. I also went because I deserved to. When you do wrong, you face consequences. That's honor, accepting punishment, not running." Min absorbed this. The market swirled around them. Laughter, music, dishes clinking, cuisines blending. "I drew you pictures," Min said finally. "Mama kept them for when you got out." Nia pulled a folder. 18 months of drawings, buildings, bridges, families, and, Kang's breath caught, recurring images of 3 stick figures holding hands, labeled Mama, Min, Father. "You drew me into your family," he whispered. "You're supposed to be in families. That's what they're for. Staying together even when it's hard." Kang pressed his hand to his mouth, tears tracking down his face. "Can I teach you something?" he asked, voice thick. "Okay." He raised his hands, forming signs slowly. "This is family in Korean Sign Language. You taught me the American version in letters. I learned yours, too." Min's eyes widened. "You learned sign language?" "In prison, a man taught me, said if I wanted to connect with my son, I should speak all his languages." Min smiled, first real smile since Kang arrived. "Show me?" They practiced together, Kang's large hands and Min's small ones, forming the same signs. Kang fumbled, fingers wrong, movements stiff. "Like this, Father," Min corrected gently. Nia watched, throat tight. Kang tried again. Better. You'll learn, she said softly. Kang looked up, first at Min, then at Nia. I already did. I learned the moment I saw you both. Everything that matters, it's right here. Min beamed. Does that mean you really understand family now? I'm beginning to. You two are teaching me. A server approached. Korean woman, kind eyes. What can I get you? We want everything, Min announced. Nia laughed. A little of everything, family style. We're celebrating. What's the occasion? Nia looked at Kang, at Min, at this impossible, beautiful thing they were building. Reunions and second chances. The server smiled. Then you'll get my best dishes. Family doesn't pay. Family is honored. They ate family style, passing dishes, Min talking nonstop. Kang listened with absolute attention, asking questions, laughing, present in ways he'd never been. As evening deepened, Kang reached across and took Nia's hand. I have something for you. He pulled out a small box. Inside, a delicate necklace, 2 pendants, one with the Korean character for family, one with the African symbol for the same. 2 cultures, 1 family, if you'll have me, not as the man I was, as the man I'm becoming every day for the rest of my life. Nia's eyes filled. Yes, I'll have you. And one more thing. He glanced at Min. Mrs. Han helped me find a house, near your church, near Min's school, big enough for all of us, if you're ready. You bought a house? A home for our family. No more running, just us. Building something real. Min sat up. We're all living together, like a real family? If your mama says yes. Min looked at Nia with enormous eyes. Please, mama? She looked at Kang, saw honesty, love, commitment, transformation. Yes, let's go home. They drove through Los Angeles streets, the city that witnessed their story. Laundromat to rooftop, to prison to reunion, where 3 broken people found each other and built something whole. Kang reached across, took Nia's hand. She laced fingers through his. Natural now, easy. Thank you, he said quietly, for not giving up on me, for seeing something worth saving when everyone else saw a monster. You were never a monster, just lost, and sometimes all lost people need is someone to show them the way home. You're my home, both of you. This is everything I never knew to want. At home, tucking Min into bed, the boy asked one more question. Mama, are we really a family now? Forever? Forever. Even when things get hard? Especially when things get hard. That's what family means. Staying, choosing each other, again and again. Good. He yawned. Can I call you both Mama and Father now, without the my in front? Kang, in the doorway, felt his throat tighten. You already do, son. And Father, will you teach me Korean? Take me to Seoul someday. I will. I'll teach you everything good about where I came from, and leave the bad parts buried. Min smiled, satisfied. Pastor Joseph said God gives second chances to people who really ask. I think God gave us all second chances, huh? Nia and Kang exchanged a look. Both had tears. Yeah, baby, Nia whispered. I think he did. In the living room, Kang stood by the window. You okay? She asked. I keep thinking I'll wake up, that this is a dream. It's real. I know. That scares me. Because now I have something to lose again, and my old life taught me everything you love gets taken. Your old life was wrong. Love makes us vulnerable, yes, but it also makes us strong. She moved beside him. You protected us, destroyed your empire, faced prison, chose redemption. That's strength, Kang. Real strength. He turned to her. Will you teach me how to be this, a father and partner? We'll learn together. None of us are experts. I don't deserve you. Maybe not, but you're choosing to become someone who does. And that's enough. They stood in the quiet apartment. Outside, the city lived its million lives. Inside, two people who'd started as enemies learned to be partners. Love wasn't easy or simple or clean, but it was real. And sometimes that was enough. The blue crayon sits on Min's dresser now, worn, treasured. A reminder that survival is possible, that fire doesn't always destroy, sometimes it refines. Kang visits Min's school for Parent Day, presents about second chances, about choosing courage, about how the bravest thing any person can do is admit they were wrong and work to be better. Children listen, wide-eyed. Min glows with pride. This is the family they built from ashes, from impossible circumstances and the daily choice to love despite fear. Not perfect, never perfect, but real and whole and healing. Pastor Joseph says at Sunday service, God's greatest miracles aren't grand gestures, they're quiet transformations. The crime boss who becomes a father, the woman who offers mercy when vengeance would be easier, the child who teaches adults how to love. That's the real miracle, not dramatic redemption, but the quiet, daily choice to show up, to try, to be present, to love imperfectly but completely. 2 years ago, this would have been impossible. Now it's just life. Min runs over, breathless. Mama, did you see? Father taught me a new move. I saw, baby. You're getting good. Kang approaches, slightly winded, smiling. He's a natural. You're doing fine, she says, only because you gave me a reason to try. She kisses him, soft, brief, full of promise. We're all trying, that's what makes it work. They walk home as the sun sets, Min between them, chattering about dreams, about the future he sees with certainty, because his parents taught him love is real and families can heal. Behind them, invisible but present, the ghosts of who they were fade into memory, not forgotten, but transformed, the way all of us transform when we choose light over darkness, courage over comfort. When we choose again and again to be better than we were, that's the story, not of perfection, but of progress, not of easy love, but of earned trust, not of instant redemption, but of daily choice. If this story moved you, if any part resonated with your own journey of healing, of second chances, of believing people can change, then share it. Subscribe to hear more stories like this, stories that remind us we're all capable of transformation. We're all one choice away from becoming who we're meant to be. Because sometimes the most inspirational truth is this: we're not defined by our worst moments. We're defined by what we do after, how we rise, how we choose, how we love. This is Nia and Kang and Min's story, but it's also yours, whenever you decide to start writing it.